There is no air, no wind, no pressure, just a black stillness that stretches in every direction. People say space is silent, but that silence isn't peace. It's a kind of absence, a sharp, echoing kind. The kind that makes your ears ring with their own loneliness. On Earth, silence means calm. In space, it means something has gone wrong. And if nothing has yet, it will soon. There are no birds here, no rustling trees, no breath but the one inside your helmet, echoing around your skull like you're trapped in a tin can. The only sound is your body, a slow heartbeat, a low hiss from the oxygen system, maybe the gentle creak of your suit adjusting to the pressure inside and the pressureless void outside. But space isn't truly silent, not if you listen differently. NASA's instruments have picked up what we can't hear, things that sound more like ghost recordings than science. Jupiter moans deep and distant, like a whale calling from another dimension. Saturn sings with electric storms. Plasma waves hum around magnetic fields. These aren't sounds for humans, and they weren't made to comfort. They weren't made for us at all. And if you took off your helmet to hear them, there would be nothing. Your eardrums would rupture from the vacuum. Then within seconds, you'd lose consciousness as your blood started to boil from lack of pressure. You wouldn't feel pain. Not exactly. Just confusion, then quiet. That's what space does. It deletes you gently, quietly. Back on Earth, silence is something we seek, a way to slow down. In space, silence is the final warning, the last thing you hear before you hear nothing again. That silence isn't an absence of sound, it's an absence of safety. A reminder that sound, like warmth, like breath, is a luxury tied to atmosphere. Take away the air and you take away the music of life. The silence also hides motion. Massive things move in space faster than bullets. A fleck of metal, no larger than a marble, can rip through a spacecraft like a knife through paper. And it won't make a sound. One moment you're whole, the next you're leaking air into infinity. You wouldn't even know it hit you until the alarms scream, if they work. If your ship isn't already spinning into darkness. And then there are the echoes of light. Stars so far away that their glow began before humans learned to build fires. Light travels in silence too, but it carries stories. Not ones we always understand, but stories nonetheless. Flashes from galaxies colliding, from suns dying, from planets being born and swallowed whole. But these stories aren't told in words, they're in radiation, in gamma bursts, in wavelengths our skin can't feel, but our equipment can. Out here, you begin to realize that everything you've ever trusted about sound is gone. No cries for help, no rush of footsteps. Just your own thoughts growing louder with each orbit. And when you finally speak, your voice sounds strange, pressurized, hollow, like it's being pushed through a long tunnel. Your words have to fight to exist here. They have to be carried by wires, converted into signals, bounced across satellites just to be heard by someone else. You never speak to someone face to face in space. Not really. There's always glass between you, or a radio delay, or distance so vast it takes minutes for light to travel. Conversations move slower here. More careful. More precious. And that's just day one. That's just the sound or lack of it. We haven't even begun to talk about the heat, the cold, the radiation, the body slowly forgetting Earth. We'll get there, but for now you're floating, tethered by fabric and metal, surrounded by stars that don't twinkle. Just fixed points in a terrifyingly still backdrop. You look around and it's beautiful, but not safe. Not ever. Because silence is not just what space sounds like. It's what it wants from you. There's no sun on your skin out here, no warmth and no glow, just a harsh, unfiltered radiation from a star 93 million miles away. On Earth, sunlight is softened by air, clouds, and ozone. But in space, it is a raw beam, sharp as a scalpel, relentless as time. The side of your body facing the sun begins to cook. It can reach 250 degrees Fahrenheit in seconds. The other side, in shadow, drops to negative 250. A suit or spacecraft does its best to balance the extremes, but nothing is perfect. You're always a few systems away from disaster. This isn't the kind of heat you can sweat through because there's no breeze to help you cool, and sweat doesn't evaporate. Instead, it pools and clings. It fogs up your helmet and chills on your skin. Meanwhile, your limbs ache from the cold that creeps in wherever insulation thins. Inside the International Space Station, the climate is controlled, completely artificial, but space finds ways to creep in. Air circulation has to be constant. Fans hum softly at all hours. Without them, carbon dioxide gathers in invisible pockets. You could suffocate in your sleep with air all around you. And heat control means more than comfort. It means life. Every inch of exposed equipment outside the station needs thermal blankets. Every mission considers sun angles and shadow durations. One wrong orbit, and a spacewalk turns into a slow roast or a deep freeze. You don't get to feel the sun anymore, not the way you remember. There are no warm summer days and no gentle sunset rays. Only radiation, blistering and penetrating, the kind that gives you cancer even while you float in a pressurized suit. And shadow doesn't mean peace, it means sudden drops in temperature that make metals creak and contracts snap. The transition from sun to dark is instant. Inside your suit, heaters work overtime. Circulation pumps keep your blood from pooling in frozen limbs. And still, you're never truly warm. Your core stays regulated, but your fingers go numb. Your toes ache. The human body wasn't made for this. Extremes that flicker from one to the other in the blink of an eye. A shadow across your path means the difference between function and failure. A misaligned panel could turn a craft into a frozen tomb. The irony is, in deep space, far from any sun, you're not cold the way you expect. You're not surrounded by chill, you're surrounded by nothing, and nothing can't take your heat away. But your own body radiates warmth slowly into the void, and that's the danger. It's like bleeding slowly. You won't feel it at first, but over time, you cool, inch by inch, cell by cell. Your body begins to forget summer. It forgets campfires and blankets and hot tea. It forgets skin that feels the breeze. In space, you don't feel the air moving because there is no air. You start to forget what warmth feels like, except in your memories. And still, you drift between sun and dark, between heat and cold, wrapped in layers of fabric and wires, hoping the balance holds for one more orbit. Imagine floating in space, surrounded by stars. It feels majestic, almost peaceful. But while you drift, invisible rays are passing through your body. Relentless, unstoppable, and dangerous. Space is full of radiation. On Earth, we're protected by the atmosphere and magnetic field, which absorb or deflect most of it. In orbit, or farther out on the Moon or Mars, that protection disappears. Cosmic rays, solar particles, gamma bursts, each one can damage cells, mutate DNA, and increase the risk of cancer. Astronauts aboard the International Space Station receive 10 times more radiation than we do on Earth. Long missions bring long exposures, and there is no way to shield yourself completely. Even lead only helps so much. Some radiation travels right through it. Over time, this exposure does more than affect the body. It clouds the mind. Cognitive function can decline. Astronauts report trouble focusing, strange moods, even hallucinations. And this isn't in deep space, it's in low Earth orbit, where we're still in Earth's protective bubble. The farther you travel, the worse it becomes. Scientists have tried designing ships with built-in water walls, magnetized hulls, or layered materials to block radiation. So far, nothing is perfect. And it isn't just the direct exposure that's a problem, it's how much we still don't understand. Space is full of strange, high-energy particles we can't replicate on Earth. They affect matter in unpredictable ways. Radiation changes how time feels. It forces your body into defense mode. Your immune system weakens. Bones lose density, vision blurs. Space may seem quiet, but your body is under constant attack. Slow, silent, and persistent. Even sleep is affected. The pineal gland, which regulates melatonin, gets confused by the artificial light and high radiation. Sleep becomes shallow. Dreams, when they come, are fragmented. The body is tired, but can't rest. This is why deep space travel, missions to Mars or beyond, is so risky. The longer you stay, the more damage accrues. We can solve engineering problems, we can carry enough food. But solving radiation may be the hardest task of all. It's easy to think of space as cold, and it is, but not in the way you expect. Temperature in space is meaningless without context. There is no air, so heat doesn't move the way it does on Earth. If you're standing in sunlight on the moon, the surface around you might reach 120 degrees Celsius. Step into the shade, and it can plunge to minus 170 degrees Celsius in seconds. Two extremes side by side, the only difference is light. Heat in space travels by radiation, not conduction or convection. That means if sunlight hits your suit, it starts heating your body directly. There's no breeze to carry that heat away. Your body sweats, but the moisture doesn't evaporate. It just lingers. Your own spacecraft isn't immune either. Electronics generate heat that must be carefully vented into space. If the systems fail, the cabin can bake or freeze within hours. Even your breath is dangerous. Exhaled air carries moisture and warmth. In a sealed environment, it collects. Fans must constantly circulate air to prevent pockets of carbon dioxide. Without them, you start to suffocate from breathing in your own waste. Your body evolved for Earth. Skin responds to the feel of air. Muscles adjust to gravity. In space, those signals vanish. You float, but your brain doesn't understand how. It interprets the sensation as falling. That's why astronauts feel nauseous for the first few days. Their inner ears are confused, their stomachs revolt. Some vomit, others don't eat. A few simply lie still, waiting for the unease to pass. Temperature, motion, digestion. Space doesn't just challenge survival, it dismantles comfort. You feel cold, then hot. You're still, but dizzy. The body adjusts eventually, but the discomfort never fully fades. And on a spacewalk, the moment you step out, it's all on you. Your suit regulates heat, filters air, and protects your skin. A tear in the fabric, even a pinhole, can unravel everything. Your sweat turns to ice. The heat from the sun becomes a burn. There's no cushion, no delay, just the body and what it can withstand. Humans were not built for space, not just physically, but mentally. Aboard a spacecraft, days blend together. There is no sunrise or sunset. Earth's orbit offers light and dark every 90 minutes. Astronauts adjust their schedules artificially. 12-hour shifts, strict routines, designated night periods. But the body knows it's all pretend. Time stretches, meals become markers. Tasks feel both urgent and distant. Every movement is slow and calculated. You can't rush in zero gravity. There is no casual walk to clear your head, no fresh air and no rain, just recycled oxygen and the soft hum of machines. The view of Earth is beautiful, but it also makes you feel small. You watch continents drift below, knowing you can't touch them. Homesickness isn't just missing a place, it's missing gravity, seasons, trees, even silence that comes from nature, not from machinery. People have cried in space, they've also laughed, told jokes, written poems, but the psychological weight grows heavier with time. Every noise becomes significant. A strange rattle, a blinking light, a system alert. You monitor everything constantly. On long missions, even with others aboard, isolation creeps in. Voices from Earth take time to arrive. Conversations lag. Sometimes they miss the mark entirely. You speak, and the reply comes 10 minutes later. Connection starts to feel distant. Abstract. Sleep is the escape, but it doesn't always come easily. You're strapped to the wall in a sleeping bag. You don't lie down because there's no down. Your body doesn't settle. It floats. Some astronauts say it feels freeing. Others describe it as disorienting. Dreams become vivid. Maybe it's the stress or the lighting. Maybe it's the noise. But in space, the mind fills the quiet with images, memories, hallucinations, fantasies. You wake up and for a moment forget where you are. Then the hum of the cabin reminds you. Space doesn't kill quickly. It kills slowly, through stress, breakdowns, tiny mistakes, and small malfunctions. It tests patience. It demands precision. It doesn't forgive forgetfulness. This is why every mission is a miracle. Every return to Earth, a relief. And still we keep going because space, for all its dangers, still calls to us.